So my concerns are two. Number one, what have you been told? In other words, what do you believe? Let's start there. It's wrong. Not in an ugly or not in an arrogant way, but let's start with what's wrong. And number two, are you familiar with the charter industry? Have you chartered recently? I find that people just sold their business. I had a call this morning at dark 30 from a young lady that sold her business back in February, and she decided this morning that she wants to buy a boat. She's never been on one, but she decided she wants to buy a boat. So that always worries me because, again, they really kind of don't know what they're getting into. I'll have a client occasionally call me up and say, hey, we've decided to buy an RV. And I say, no, not going to happen. I'm not going to give you the money. And here's what you can do. You can rent one 4 times. Bring me the receipts. Show me that you've rented one, and we'll talk. So again, I'm not in the business of turning people away. If that's not good for us or for anybody. But I need to know, what have you been told? Who told it to you? And again, what's your experience? And I'd say 90% of the time, we get people that say, wow, I've been doing this for years, but now I'm retired. Wow, I've been chartering for years. I've been in Croatia. I've been in Corfu. I've been in the BVI, and now it's time to buy a boat. We know what we're doing. We know what we want, and we understand that much of what we've been told is not true, and that's why we're on the phone with a maritime tax expert.
So, Patrick, can you speak to one example of something you hear a lot that is just not true or
Yes.
almost never true?
Well, so let's talk about one thing that's patently not true, and then let's take one thing that I think is just bad information. What's not true is generally the income projections that we see around town. They are not good. Let me just say it that way. They're comical. They appear to inflate the amount of money that's going to come in, and then they deflate the amount of expense that a modern yacht. I mean, I have a 53 Power Cat, and I'm telling you that I'm looking around for the spark plug, and I have this mass amount of machines that convert DC power into AC power. I don't know anything about that. I'm a captain. So again, there's a lot of maintenance that I think is downplayed. There's a lot of issues in terms of income that is overplayed. The card then that is a mistake is Section 179. All of the people, I'd say 90%, present company accepted, of people say, well, we're going to use 179. And you're not going to use 179. And you can't use 179 because 179 has a number of limitations that are not going to make it work for yachts or jets. It's just not. We can do it, but we can't use 179. So I think those are 2 examples of people getting bad information, perhaps purposefully, and then getting bad information, perhaps accidentally.
Sure. So let's talk on that then. If they're not using Section 179, are they then using a bonus depreciation?
They are, because again, what's great, Mr. Trump, love him or hate him, and people do, both sides, was very clever about making sure that there was no limitations. In other words, and sometimes when I was arguing with a lawyer the other day. By the way, that argument went very well because not only did he suggest that his client go through with the boat purchase, he called me back and he's buying a monohull. And you can't imagine how negative he was. And the reason he was negative is in the old days, depreciation only applied to certain forms of income, for instance. Now it doesn't. If you bought a boat in January compared to buying a boat in December, it made a big difference. It doesn't anymore. So once again, people are pulling their accountants, pulling their attorneys, and pulling their financial advisors into the conversation. And they're saying, well, doesn't it work this way? I said, yes, it does work that way 25 years ago or 15 years ago, but it doesn't now because of Trump-sponsored bonus depreciation. So all the limitations, that's a great point, Amanda, all the limitations that we struggled with. We've had people that bought a boat used, which you couldn't do, closed on the 29th, which is the very last day of the year, and we were still able to affect the bonus depreciation in our preparation of the entity return. That's amazing and hard to believe for some people who know or knew how things used to work.